ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
The National Guard was called into Kenosha, Wisconsin tonight as hundreds took to the streets to protest. The people are calling for justice for Jacob Blake. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. Video surfaced yesterday of an encounter that started as a domestic disturbance call. 29-year-old Blake was shot multiple times by police as he attempted to get back into his SUV after what a witness described as wrestling with police. Blake is in the hospital in stable condition. Meantime, his family said they support peaceful protesting in his name, but not rioting.
We can't destroy our own communities. We want to continue to protest and get justice without destroying our own communities.
The Department of Justice is investigating the shooting. The Kenosha Police Association did release a statement saying the video that's circulating does not capture all of the incident, and they ask that people withhold judgment. The 3 police officers involved are now on administrative leave. They have not been named. And tensions rose outside police headquarters in downtown San Diego tonight. Protesters blocked the driveways leading to and from the headquarters to show solidarity for Jacob Blake. Police say they gave several warnings over a megaphone asking the demonstrators to move. As officers worked to clear the driveways, police say one of them was hit in the head with a cane. Several others were punched. 3 people were arrested.
Your voice, your vote. Day 1 of the 2020 Republican National Convention is in the books. Earlier today, President Trump was officially nominated by the GOP party for a second term. As ABC's Andrew Dembert shows us, it's shaping up to be a fierce re-election bid.
President Donald Trump formally renominated Monday to top the Republican ticket in 2020 on the first day of the Republican National Convention. The GOP opening their scaled-back convention with ramped-up attacks on Democrats. In a surprise speech to kick off the convention, Trump laying in on his opponents.
They are trying to steal the election, just like they did it last time with spying, and we caught them, and that included President Obama, and that included, let's be nice, Biden.
Convention officials say the week will underscore optimism within the Republican Party with the theme honoring the great American story.
This is our story. We journey together.
Other speakers for opening night include party staples like Senator Tim Scott and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
This president has a record of strength and success. The former vice president has a record of weakness and failure.
There's also outspoken conservative Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, the president's son Donald Trump Jr., and even Mark and Patricia McCloskey, the St. Louis couple who pointed guns at Black Lives Matter protesters near their home. The Republicans' big week follows the Democratic convention last week. The RNC different in not just party, but presentation. The GOP hosting a mix of in-person and digital events across North Carolina and Washington, D.C., with some 300 delegates gathering in Charlotte. As the coronavirus reshapes the 2020 election, President Trump taking the party's primetime programming to separate himself from Joe Biden, who has rarely left his home state of Delaware since the pandemic hit.
This base doesn't like Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. I think we're going to get a lot of votes.
But in an exclusive interview, Biden telling ABC's David Muir he's not just sitting back.
So when you hear the president say this guy's afraid to leave his basement,
guess what? I have left my basement, but here, in the meantime, 500 million people have watched what I've done out of my basement. And guess what? People are listening. People are listening. It's about being responsible.
And President Trump will officially accept his party's nomination for the White House from the White House on Thursday, but the president is also expected to be a part of this convention every night moving forward. Andrew Dembert, ABC News, Washington.
And you can watch the Republican convention right here on ABC 10 tomorrow through Thursday. You can watch ABC 10 News at 4, 5, and 6, followed by World News with David Muir, then live coverage of the convention at 7 o'clock.
Having that meal on the table and having that be a constant thing is a really important thing in a child's life.
Children in San Diego could soon go without food. That's the warning from San Diego Unified leaders after the U.S. Department of Agriculture ended supplemental food support for local families. The programs expire in a month. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us what this means for children that receive these daily meals.
The schools would now have to verify a form of ID and stop providing meals on evenings and weekends. The district says they are trying to fill in the gaps so no one goes hungry. It was done almost immediately after the pandemic started. School districts like San Diego Unified providing meal pickups for students now learning at home.
And they would be so appreciative. Thank you, teacher, thank you.
Gail Pietzrich and Mauro Soria are both teachers at Clark Middle School in City Heights.
Having access to that nutrition is, vital.
The district was providing students breakfast, lunch, and evening and weekend meals at 28 schools.
Often the stable, healthy meal that we know our kids can count on.
At the end of September, things will change. The Department of Agriculture has decided to end the supplemental food support, now requiring families to show and verify identification, proof of school attendance, and eligibility to qualify for the free meals, something that was waived because of the pandemic.
As teachers, we're expected to be feeding their minds, but how can you do that if their bellies aren't being fed?
To help fill in the gaps, the district is working with partners like the San Diego Food Bank and Feeding San Diego. It has announced triple the distribution sites, now up to 82, and it's offering assistance with completing the required forms.
It just means that the kids are going to go to bed that night hungry. And that's unacceptable in the richest country in the world. It's unacceptable.
We did reach out to the USDA to ask about the waiver extension, but have not heard back. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
San Diego County is continuing to see progress in its COVID-19 case rate, but officials are warning when the county reopens, there will be precautions.
When we took those actions to tighten restrictions, we saw the number of cases come down significantly, which is what got us off the state monitoring list. And so if we were to move too swift in undoing those, it is only logical that we would then spike again. And what we desperately want to avoid in San Diego County is the on the list, off the list, open, closed scenario.
If our case rate remains steady, next Tuesday will mark 14 days the county has been off the state's monitoring list. And this will give schools the option to reopen. To prepare, the county said it will announce further guidelines around testing for teachers and students on Wednesday. Meantime, the county is still waiting for guidance on reopening from the state.
And for the first time in 2 weeks, the county reported fewer than 200 new positive cases. 187 new cases pushed our total to 36,727. The county also reported no new deaths over the weekend. That's pretty common for a Monday, so that total remains at 660.
San Diego Council member Chris Cate believes comedy clubs can reopen safely. He's asking the governor to allow the venues to resume operations outdoors. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura spoke with the comedy club owner who says there's no reason they can't safely do business like everyone else.
I spoke with the co-owner of the Comedy Palace. He says they have a large outdoor area where people can socially distance and get some laughs. He just needs the green light to do live shows.
We have the comedy club right here. It's like a storage now inside.
The Comedy Palace in Kearny Mesa has been adapting to the pandemic like every other business.
We've been here since 1989. To be honest with you, we're digging into our personal funds right now to keep it going.
George Salick co-owns the family business made up of a restaurant and comedy club. There are tents outside. Earlier this month, with restaurants allowed to sit customers outdoors, they moved their comedy shows outside too, only to learn it was in violation of the public health order.
So we were doing everything we thought was necessary, and then they came in and stuck a knife in us.
Rand is a comedian and a consultant for the club. After they had to stop live shows, they tried pre-tape shows, but it wasn't the same.
We tried 2 weekends of pre-recorded shows, and I think the max I was able to get out was 25 people.
On Monday, Councilmember Chris Cate wrote this letter to the governor's office requesting that comedy clubs in San Diego County be allowed to reopen outdoors.
We're not talking about having concerts here where thousands of people are sitting next to each other. These are performances that are done while folks and individuals are having dinner in a restaurant setting that are properly social distanced. Why should they be treated any differently?
At a Monday news conference, county officials said they are waiting on state guidelines for reopening. Salick hopes comedy clubs like his will be included.
Hopefully, they'll let us reopen.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
California is contending right now with two major crises, COVID and the devastating fires in the state that have now burned an area about the size of Delaware. That's nearly 1.5 million acres. 3 wildfires in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. They account for the majority of those acres, about 800,000. 7 people have died in the fires across the state, and firefighters are still struggling to gain the upper hand against them. And a team from the San Diego Humane Society is on its way north to help a local animal shelter that's been forced from its home by the river fire burning in Monterey County. They left this afternoon at about 1 o'clock, and over the next 10 days, they will help care for livestock animals, including goats, sheep, and chickens. That river fire has burned more than 48,000 acres over the past week. It's a little over 20% contained. So far, it has destroyed 8 homes and damaged 8 others.
A procession was held today for the helicopter pilot killed in a crash while fighting those fires. Mike Forner's casket was escorted from Fresno to Rancho Cucamonga, where the services were held. Mike was a pilot for our own Sky 10 in the early 2000s. He is survived by his wife and 2 daughters, and his family has set up a GoFundMe page. The humidity is clinging to San Diego to start the week, and some parts of the county will have a hurdle to overcome before seeing any relief. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us live with a look at the shift in the weather. Angelica?
Hi, Kim. It was a few degrees cooler today, and tonight is already looking a little bit better than it did last night. Temperatures only dropped to 75 degrees overnight in Chula Vista last night, and right now the numbers are down to 74. I know, only a degree of a difference, but it's a little bit better in Escondido, down to 69. Last night, the overnight low was 73, so we are looking better. The water temperature is still very warm, so we are expecting muggy conditions to continue along the coast. However, monsoonal moisture will start to go down, but temperatures will be on the rise. I'll explain how this is going to play out for the next 7 days coming up.